what did you have for breakfast, first of all?
I had Dunkin' Donuts, coffee, and...
Did you go with the donut or did you go with the egg sandwich?
No, I went for the donut. My son and I split it, like
Okay.
the 2 donuts and 1 coffee.
Yeah, that's a good
So
deal.
he got a donut, I got a donut. The problem was that at the hotel, they didn't start till 6:30 for the continental breakfast. Unfortunately, we were leaving there like at 5:45. So we're driving around with a GPS trying to find, we got Dunkin' Donuts, So it was one of those kind of funny things.
All right, that's funny. Well, let me just have you say and spell your first and last name, and tell me that you're with EYP, right?
I'm with EYP
And your title, okay. And you can look right at me.
All right, look at you.
Yep. And he keeps me from talking with my hands, otherwise I'm in the movie.
So you want me to spell my name?
You bet.
All
and
right.
then title.
Okay. My first name is Rick, and my last name is Stevens. And it's Rick, R-I-C-K, and last name Stevens, S-T-E-P-H-E-N-S. And I'm a senior associate with EYP.
Excellent. How long have you been with them?
Presently for 2.5 years, but I was with them from 1981 to 1987.
Did you have to ever drive with Tim Cohan?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah, and I worked on a lot of projects with Tim Cohan. A lot of projects.
Well, he's my mother's cousin, but I adopted him as my uncle. I love him to death.
That was a good adoption.
Yeah. Good guy. We'll start just sort of talking about modular, and I'm new to this whole thing, but what's a big difference between modular construction and traditional stick build?
Well, I think the difference is, from where I come from, we're used to specking the whole thing and drawing the whole thing, okay? And we work with the architect and the engineer to produce that with the client, okay? Now we have a modular builder, okay? That's usually not on board in the sense of, that comes after the bid, after you bid the project. This is a situation where we're working as a team building concept where all 4 parties between the architect, the engineer, the modular builder, are all in the same time at the same place, if you know what I mean. So that's kind of a different concept from where we are.
It's pretty cool watching that go on this morning. What is it about a meeting like that that's different than you'd ever do in a traditional building?
Well, usually what happens is a lot of that decision-making thing is really part of that concept is made up front. In this case here, it all depends on how the modular builder is trying to put the boxes together to build the building. So we usually don't do and answer those things up front. Conventionally, it's all done in the field. Now all of a sudden, the bulk of this is now being constructed off-site in a modular form and then shipped and erected at the site. So that's a completely different concept. We've never done it before in that complex. We've done a lot of housing and things like the standard way with the stick built and the conventional concept.
Well, I want to go with a kind of a follow-up question to that. Does that make it harder at first? Hang on one second. And does that make it harder?
I don't think it makes it harder. I think it makes it's a different way of thinking, if you know what I mean. Now all of a sudden we're thinking in concept like a contractor, because he's trying to build it, but build it before he gets it to the site. That's a different convention than the normal for us. So it's like anything else, is if everybody works as a team and you have the concept together and everyone's willing to share the information, it can become a better product, if you know what I mean, and better coordination. And like I said, a lot of good parties and people that you usually don't get to that kind of level at on a social basis, you know what I mean? To know people. It kind of brings the team together. But it's in the best interest of the owner.
They hold for 10 seconds room tone because it's good.
Okay. We're going to record some of the sound that goes on and plug that in later once they make some. They're perfect for a minute. I can get them to go again just by asking you the next question.
Yeah, that's good.
So is this faster and more efficient?
I think it's faster. I think it can be more efficient. But I think it's like anything else. Once there's something different, it takes you a while to get up to speed on it. You know what I mean? So everyone understands everyone else's role. So I think initially it's like learning something new. It takes a long period of time to get used to it and work with it. But once you see the whole thing work together as a team, it should be, a big advantage. And then secondly is the building part of it, erecting it at the site and things like that should go a lot smoother than normal. So I think there's a big advantage in that direction also.
Yeah, it must be. We talked to the people from Trinity on Friday, and you could feel their level of excitement. And the thing that they're most excited for, obviously, was the calendar. So you guys are on the other end of that. When you look at the calendar, when you first heard about the start and finish date, what were your thoughts?
I was kind of hesitant, thinking that it's going to be very difficult to meet the schedule. We started with one direction of trying to get assigned a modular builder, on board. Until we got one actually assigned, then it was kind of like a waiting game. But once we got someone on board, like KBS, now all of a sudden they know their business a lot better than we do. So we're actually learning something on the engineering and architecture side that you normally don't see. So it takes a while for everybody to find their little place. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah. And that's a lot of what was going on in that room.
Exactly. Yeah. The good thing is, when you have communication like that, and like I said, we're there with maybe 12 to 15 people, everyone has a chance to have input, and there's things that people agree upon and people disagree upon. But we always say in our business, you can have a lot of discussion, but I'm only interested is what's the decision, you know what I mean? You can talk about this or you talk about that, but when you get done with the conversation, you have to decide on something, and the something is the answer to take to the next step. That's really what I'm saying.
And with an engineer's mind, do you feel pretty confident that, that one of the things we keep hearing when we're here today, we keep hearing your colleagues talk about how you got to get it right before you build. And do you feel pretty confident that that team that sits together gets that done?
I believe that we're going to get there. I think it's taking us a while to learn the ropes, if you know what I mean. But I think eventually it'll be a better product, and a better client relationship, and an overall a better product for the college, if you know what I mean, for this particular project. So overall, there's a big advantage. I can see it now.
And those advantages at the school, if you could talk to them, in my mind, I'm thinking some of them are probably the fact that you get, it's just less of a footprint, less of a time. No one's going to hear me say that, but what are those things that college gets out of this that's so much better than doing a traditional one?
Well, I think you get a lot better coordination. I think you can get a product that's faster. Okay, in other words, if they can build it in maybe half the time of conventional, then the sooner it gets built, the sooner they can turn around and utilize that space for campus housing and things like that. So that's a big advantage. And when you have a builder and modular building, you can know what the price is. The other conventional way is, you put the package together, you send it out to bid, but you really don't know the price till you get the bids back. This way, you're kind of working together, and there'll be some changes in what we call value engineering. That we got to reduce. We spent too much on the plumbing, or we spent too much on the hardware, and we got to reduce these little things to get the whole project in line with the total budget, but not lose value of the components within the budget either. So that makes it a little bit of a challenge. You know what I mean? So there has to be some give and take. You know what I mean? So yeah, I like this better. I like this product better than what you're proposing, but we have to save X amount of dollars. So then that's where the compromise, the give and take comes. But overall, it should be better for the client.
Yeah. You didn't even think about how you got your heat or your cooling. You just turn the heat up or down. We're talking to one of the resident life women at the college, and the kids are interested to know about the sustainability or the greenness of their school, which I was kind of surprised. But what do you think about the whole LEED component, and what's that? Does the modular aspect help them get to a more efficient and sustainable?
Well, I think what we have is we have another coordinator on the LEED, as an independent consultant. Okay, and I think it was Winter Associates. So we do not know them. I mean, we're from the Capital District area in Albany, where here we are, building a project in Hartford, Connecticut, and KBS is in Maine. So we're everyone's a little bit all over the place, But I think there's a lot of input on efficiencies, on high condensing unit efficiency furnaces, and more efficient, EERs, or energy efficiency ratios on cooling coils and condensing units and things like that. So when you add all these different aspects between the lighting and different components to stay within lead, then you're building a better product. It should last longer, and obviously it's going to be much more efficient than perhaps the conventional way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So overall, it's a better product.
Awesome. How about the quality? When I first heard of the term modular, I'm thinking back to the 70s when people were kind of dissing it and it wasn't really a plus. Now it seems that modular is quality, and people have been talking about how Henry Ford would be impressed that we stole the assembly line method. What about this modular method that might help the quality aspect?
Well, I think one of the things is a lot of coordination and really quality control is being done right here, where before with the conventional way it's done out in the field. So when things get done out in the field, you don't see it every day kind of thing. You have maybe a superintendent at the site or a project manager or something like that, where in this case, it's built here. Kind of know what you're getting. You get a chance to tour the building and see it. You look at the products and things like that, and you can see, your first thought is not going to be as good as quality. Because like you said back in the 70s, you say, modular builder. I think of modular home. That's like a trailer kind of concept, you know what I mean? So things have changed. It's a whole new concept. It's not a new concept. It's a concept that you're not used to thinking in that direction from where we come from. But I see it as a great advancement, if you know what I mean, in the long run. So I'm going to be happy about the end product. I think the owner will be very happy about the end product.
One great, just by looking at the weather outside today, if you could talk a little bit about maybe in the past, weather could screw up an entire job, but here,
well, like most of it's built here, and then it's getting shipped to the site, and it's kind of crane erected, if you know what I mean. And that's the problem is when you're doing, working in the field, and you're trying to put a roof on, and you're not going to do it in the rain. So there's a lot of delays and things like that, and that's why there's a longer duration than time to construct it the conventional way, where stick built, where you're doing it here, most of the product is like 90% built, and the rest of it is maybe some field connections with coordinating some site issues and some on-site electrical work and some miscellaneous things like that. So most of the quality now, you can see it, okay, and you can observe it, where the other one is, if you're an engineer that you do construction phase services where you go to the project every 2 weeks and view it, you already know what you got before you get there, if you know what I mean, because you're seeing it, and then you get a shop drawing of it, things like that. So you know all the products. So that's where some big advantages are I see on that end.
Have you worked much with Trinity's people?
I have a boss, Steve.
Okay, that's a different thing.
Well, that's a great thing to talk about then. So you've had a lot of experience building large structures. What's it like doing a large structure that's modular? I mean, it must be a little bit of a curve.
Well, I think what's the difficult thing is, the most part of it is the difficulty on trying to squeeze everything in, because the taller the building gets, the more expensive it gets. We still got the same kind of product that we're trying to put in there. You may have to change the duct sizes, the aspect ratios to make it fit within the envelope. So that makes it a little bit more difficult to make it all work. And then the placement of those particular components with a modular is very important on the coordination side of it, because it's all got to fit, and it's got to fit in the box, and we got to ship it to the site. So it's a lot of coordination up front, but the savings will be a shorter time period on construction and a lot less field problems. Because most of the things that we say in my business is, if we're trying to work out a complex problem in the office, and we can't resolve it, then the attitude is, if we can't resolve it here, how are we going to possibly resolve it in the field? And then especially when you say it's out of town, now you're going to drive 2.5 hours even to get there. So now you got an 8-hour day to solve one problem. It's not worth it. You're better off solving the problem before it comes out of the office. So here, this concept is we're solving it here before it gets to the site. So it's the same kind of concept. It's just in a different format than what you know.
It really is smart thinking. It's what's happening.
Well, I think it's smart thinking. You can get, I see you can get a better building. Okay.
I got stuff on the top of that. You're really shocked.
Okay.
I think you can get a better building, okay, more coordinated for a better price. But it may be a lesser price, but it doesn't mean it's not a quality product, if you know what I mean. That's the important part.
Okay. Oh, we got our music back
Oh,
on.
okay, now we had to dance the next one.
Yeah. Is it killing us? Yeah, hang on. Didn't work with before that you worked with on the team now?
Well, I never worked with Brian, Cohen, but I did with his father, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
And I really don't know the people from KBS. They're out of Maine, and we're not in the same area. We're like 300 and some odd miles away.
Okay.
So, I'm trying to think of the other team players.
Did you work? Have you had much work with the Trinity folks?
No, we've
Okay.
done no work with Trinity at all.
All right.
For me personally, anyway.
When you look forward to this job, what are you most excited to see happen, or what kind of place do you want to get to?
Well, I'm always excited. I'm kind of a person that wants to go through it, get it done, make it as best product as I can make it, and then the excitement about it is seeing it erected or seeing it done, kind of thing, in all the pieces and work, if you know what I mean. I mean, these are not complex systems from where I'm coming from, as far as mechanical or electrical. But to see something run and the excitement of that's really the thrill for me. You designed it, now you see it, and then you have a client or people using it that are enjoying it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's a very desirable building, aesthetically and everything else like that. So it's like the whole picture all together, in one enchilada, if you know what I mean.
That's great. Who's more of a pain in the ass, Brian or Tim?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Tim and I did a lot of buildings and things like that. More commercial buildings way back. Starting probably back in like late 70s or 80s and things like that. Brian does a good job on what part he does, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Tim was more of a hands-on kind of guy, you know what I mean, from where I was. He was an architect that would come down and want to change, because the architects were upstairs and the engineers were downstairs. And we want to change this, move this, do that. Some guys didn't like that so much because, stay out of my business and I'll stay out of your business.
We'll
and
draw
things
you
like
a
that.
picture.
Yeah, never thought of it that way. I always came from the idea that we're trying to make it, we're working for a team. We're working for EYP. We're trying to produce a better product for a better client, if you know what I mean. So it isn't a personal thing. It's what the outcome is, which is the biggest advantage, I say. That's where I'm from.
That's great. That last part is exactly what I wanted to know.
I got one question for you before you go in. Just wondering, are there tools like computer-aided tools and whatnot that you can manage all those details better because it's modular? Does that make any difference?
I think what happens, there's two things that go on for us. We're coming where I work now. We've done everything in my business under AutoCAD. Okay. Now there's another 3D modeling, which is called Rivet. Okay. So that's another way it does a coordination, but it's a new concept. It's new for me. And at my age, I'm not going to learn that because you don't make money for me drawing. If you know what I mean. I draw the design. To me, I always do the design in pencil, and then I hand it off to someone else. But it takes now to learn something new again. It takes people to learn from going from one method of doing it to the new method, and now you got the learning curve. Once you get through the learning curve, now you know how to do something, and then it goes fast. But initially, it'll take a while to get up to speed on a new method.
Right. Anything we didn't ask you that you find important that we're missing?
No, I don't think. I think we went over quite a bit of things, things like that. I have a tendency sometimes to be too technical, so I try not to, be too technical. I've heard that when I go into board meetings and someone explains something how this works, and I explain it to them, and they just don't get it.
I heard it from my wife.
Yeah.
Just yes or no.
My wife just tells me you don't listen. She's like most engineers, I think.